Welcome to Tips on Teens. My name is Kent Toussaint, licensed marriage and family therapist, coming to you live on Facebook every Wednesday at noon on your lunch break to answer your parenting questions. And today is less of a Tips on Teens and more of a Clues on Kids. So let's jump in today's question. My 3-year-old son has been kicked out of his 4th preschool today for how he expresses anger. He gets mad about things and goes into Hulk mode. He's been assessed for autism, and that's been ruled out. Both my wife and I work full-time, so taking him out of preschools isn't an option. How do we help him? So this is a very complicated question, and to be transparent, I did talk to this dad on the phone, so I got a little more details of what's going on. And this is a tough situation because, both parents have careers, they have their career goals, they're not finished meeting their career goals. These careers help, feed their family, pay the mortgage, life insurance, health insurance, all these things. These careers help with their lifestyle. And their child, who's been in daycare since 6 months old, has been in daycare pretty much from, 7:30 in the morning till 6 at night. So the vast majority of the waking hours of this child for the vast majority of his life has been in daycare. And that may be part of the issue. And I understand that's a challenge because, again, these parents have bills to pay and careers to manage. But this young boy is telling us that there are some emotional needs that are not being met. And it's difficult to ask a 3-year-old to adjust. He's acting out anger. He's been kicked out of 4 preschools now. He's acting out anger at home. He doesn't get his way. He's throwing things. Again, autism has been ruled out. He's been tested. So we have to figure out, what is this child telling us with his behavior? Because he doesn't have the words, doesn't have the language to speak it because he's 3. And, anger is a secondary emotion, which often is covering up feelings of sadness or fear. And it's the only way he feels that he can get his point across. So I think this needs to be dealt with. I think it's really important. I think it's important for this family to recognize that, well, let me put it this way. This dad was telling me about a therapist who gave him advice, which I do not agree with. I do not agree with this advice. And this is the advice that she gave him, that when he has a tantrum, that they should hold him. So far, I'm okay with it. But this is where I diverge. And while holding him, ignore him. Don't talk to him, talk to someone else, do something else, just hold him and ignore him. And I flat out disagree with this advice. I think this sends the wrong message. I don't think it helps the situation. And the reason why this therapist told these parents to do this is because her opinion was that this 3-year-old had not yet learned to self-soothe, and by trying to be there for him, talk to him, they're robbing him of learning how to soothe by himself, which I flat out disagree with. I think children learn how to self-soothe by how we as the parents soothe them. 3-year-olds do not know how to self-soothe. That is not a trait that 3-year-olds are masters of. There are adults who don't know how to self-soothe. And how a child learns to self-soothe is through the relationship with the parent. So instead, what I would recommend is when your kid is having this big reaction at home or the grocery store, or even at daycare, which it may not work there because the daycare may not be able to do this, but you hold him in a gentle, loving way, and you talk to him in a calm, soothing way, and you let him know that he's safe, and you're going to keep him safe, and you're going to keep yourself safe, and that you love him, and you're going to stay with him until he is able to be calm, and you're going to help him do that, and you're in it together. You want to be there with him, because if you're with him, he eventually starts, and I'm going to be a little therapist-y, so stay with me now, where you start self-soothing by how your parents soothe you. You start internalizing your parents. And as they get older, when they feel angry, we have that internalized parent who's there holding us and hugging us. I know that sounds kind of woo-woo and therapist-y, but it's based on theory and all this stuff. I don't want to bore you with all the details. But yes, this is modern theory, and this is stuff that's been tested and studied, and this is not just me, looking at crystals. I'm not saying crystals are wrong or bad. I'm just, people, this is stuff. This is stuff that we have studied. So with that in mind, with this child being in daycare for most of his waking hours, he gets home at 6:30, he's in bed by 7:30, so there's very little time for him to really connect with his parents. I think these parents need to readjust, reevaluate where their priorities are with their finances and where their career goals and what's important for their son, because you can't really ask a 3-year-old to adjust. So how do the parents adjust? Now, maybe that's bringing a grandparent involved, getting that grandparent more involved, or an aunt or an uncle or a cousin, someone who can be that steady attachment figure for this child. Now, eventually this child will go to kindergarten and first grade, and then your child may be more ready because he'll be 5. But it's helping that kid feel more secure and safe now, because he's definitely not feeling secure now. And it may be that one of those careers need to be sacrificed to some extent for the betterment of this child. And we have to see financially, is it worth taking the time to retreat from this promising career and take a step back with their career so you can have more time with that child? Is that a better investment of your money? Because obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but if this continues to escalate as he gets older and he starts internalizing that, oh, I'm the bad kid, I'm the angry kid, I'm the kid who never gets anything right, that can be a very big problem as he gets older and turns into a teenager. And that's a lot of therapy, potentially rehab if he gets into drugs and alcohol, which, raises the chances if he's feeling that way about himself, this always feeling of I'm never good enough, I'm always bad. We want to help shift that to a more positive self-image for this kid. So I think it's important for parents to look at, where is that money best spent and invested? Is it invested now, helping this kid, so by the time he is going to kindergarten, that he is more grounded and safe and feels secure when he comes home, there's a parent there with him, or there's a grandparent, or again, a nanny or something? Or is it better to wait and see if that money is being spent on therapy or rehab down the line? I generally think preventive care is better than reactive care. You get a lot more bang for your buck. But I understand this is a really difficult choice because we don't know what the future holds. We have to just go with our intuition. And I think these parents need to really dig down deep and think about where their intuition is leading them and go that way. There isn't a simple answer to this question. It's a tough question to answer. But again, we can't expect this child to just shift to the parents' needs. We need the parents to shift to the child's needs. Again, tough question. A lot more we can talk about this, and the dad and I did talk about this a lot more in detail, but we only have a few minutes here on Facebook Live. But if you have more questions about this, go ahead and email us at tipsonteens@teentherapycenter.com. We love your questions. We'd love to answer your question next week, Wednesday at 12 on Facebook. Also, you can direct message us here on Facebook. Love to answer your questions here. And thanks again. My name is Kent Toussaint. We are Teen Therapy Center, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.